Hey everybody! Today we're gonna make, what do we got? We got Vietnamese rice, it's probably backwards. Vietnamese rice paper and pho noodles too. Pho. Say hi, the girls decide that they wanted to help me do this today. So we'll see how long this lasts. Yeah. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is make the girls some coconut water because they've been complaining. So if you're watching this live, I'd love to hear from you. Just message what you're doing, where you're watching from. Even if it is just a recording, if you're watching a repeat of it, just type in where you're watching from. Love to hear from you. Alright, don't leave it there. Leave it there. Watch where you're leaving it. Don't knock it off the bench. Alright, today so we got the pho. We're going to start off with the rice noodles. These are the ingredients. We'll go through them. I already gave you a list of stuff that we need to do. So to start off, we're going to start doing the stock because we need to cook that up. Normally you make a pho stock which is often it's a beef one or a chicken one, but often beef, and then we add a whole bunch of different spices that makes that unique flavour. But I don't want to just have a whole bunch of the pho stock, so I normally have a nice bone broth anyway, which has, I put beef, chicken necks, chicken carcass, and it's even a little bit of bacon in there because it does taste quite nice and it helps season it. So this is a broth that I've strained. This is something that I've been cooking for the last couple of days. Put it on your slow cooker, or in this one, this is a sous vide machine, which can work as a slow cooker as well. So I've put that on the stove. So the trick to get that really delicious, unique pho flavour, what we need is a set of spices. So we got cloves, which is going to go in. We got star anise. So we got ginger. And if the girls want to put, you girls want to break up some garlic?
Yeah!
So I want to take the skin off these.
Uh-huh. We know how to do it though.
Yeah, I'm just helping you start at the start.
By squeezing them like that.
Yeah, and then you just peel them off now.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
All of its skin?
Yep, all the skin.
Be careful not to get in your eyes.
Yeah, don't get any of this in your eyes. Alright, so while the girls are doing that, we'll get a piece of ginger.
Is a good one, Dad?
And I'll split down the middle.
I'm going to do the right one here.
Now, I've turned my stove on, and what we got is on high. Really high. So what we're going to do is get that really nice char flavour that you get from a pho. So we got some garlic. The girls are peeling some garlic for me. So we got that. Got some star anise. I originally thought I had some cinnamon quills, but turned out all I had was some ground cinnamon, which I'm not a big fan of, but it will have to do. You always have to make do what you've got.
Like in Shopkins in the movie.
Like in the Shopkins.
Thanks. If you want to learn how to cook, you have to use what you have got.
You learn to use what you have got. Alright, so we split these down a strip like that. We got some garlic that the girls has peeled for us. Great job. Alright, let's put them. You want to take them out and put them in the rubbish.
What?
Put them in there, like that. No, it's just rubbish. Alright, so I've got this stove on really hot. If you've got a gas stove, then what you would do is get a hot pan, you put it on the stove, bring it up until it's super, super hot. And what we're doing is we're going to char to chop the onion, so we need an onion as well.
Stand over here. Yeah, so we want this.
So what we got, this is it's really, really hot, and we just put it straight on top. We're going to get this really nice char, which gives that real unique flavour that pho has. Star anise, a couple of garlic, and our ginger. Oh, it's so hot it's bouncing around. You girls can drink your coconut water?
I don't like mine.
Why not?
I like it.
It's delicious.
It's delicious to me.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Why not? So while we're waiting for that to char, I'm putting on the kettle because we need some really hot water for two things, for the rice paper rolls and to cook the rice noodles with. Are you leaving me already? We only haven't even started. It's don't have any endurance whatsoever. Alright, everybody get out then. Well, too bad, you'll need to wait till later.
I'm getting something.
No, you're not getting nothing, don't answer back. Go back, go back. Alright, so you see that, oh, not quite. See the onion has got this beautiful char, looks like a love heart. The star anise, it's kind of maybe a little bit more than it should, but it's got that kind of charred flavour, and that's where we'll get a fair bit of our flavour from. We'll put it in now. Yes, I know it's probably not healthy, but a lot of things not healthy. Okay, we're still trying to get this ginger to char right up. So while that's charring up, so once they're nice and black, we put it in our stock. I mean, you don't need to make your own stock, you can buy your own, but if you do buy your own, go to those. There's lots of choices with stocks these days. Hey Claire, hey Plebbies, how you doing? There's lots of stocks on hand, and these hipsters is getting their hands right into the bone broth, and the health people are into it as well. So you can get a really good quality bone broth. They can be quite expensive. They're about $10 a packet for a litre sometimes, but they are worth it because it does take you time, and it does cost you money to buy the bones and all that kind of stuff. So I personally might make it myself because I like making big batches. They're quite healthy apparently, according to my nutritionist, but I get it. It really is simple dinner, and it's so versatile. You can do so many things. You can make sauces, you can make soups, you can make heaps of stuff. It's a real base of a lot of food. But so what we got next is we're going to cook our noodles. Now the way to make our rice noodles. Where is my rice noodles? Oh, here we go. You get these thin rice noodles from most places. They're fairly cheap, they're like a couple of dollars a packet. And they come in this really weird plasticky kind of thing. I'm going to put in a couple because I'm going to take them over to a party later on. A bit of hot water there. So in a big tub, we're going to get our hot water in there. And then we'll throw our noodles straight in. Boom. Just like that, and leave it alone. So we also need to heat up our rice paper rolls as well, so we'll put the kettle back on. It's the quickest way of boiling water really, instead of putting it on the stove or anything like that. If you have an urn or a hot water system, that pulls out hot water straight away, then use that. Alright, so that's on the heat, and our noodles are soaking. So it only takes a few minutes for these noodles to soak, and they'll soften up. Clean up the bench a bit. Oh yes, so I'm bringing the stock to the boil. I got some round steak, which is kind of fairly tough. Traditionally they use a skirt or a brisket to make the stock for a traditional pho stock, but because we already made the stock, we can just put these in the stock broth, which you can see. Whoop. And I'm just going to put it in there. It'll do two things, it'll flavour it and also cook it. And if the steak's pretty tough or a cheaper cut, it's not too bad because we're going to really slice it really thinly before we serve it anyway, so it'll be quite chewy. So let's check out the rice noodles. Slowly they're getting a bit softer. While we're waiting, we can tidy up this mess and we'll start prepping the stuff. It's too noisy. Go to the bedroom and do it, Chloe. Okay. Slowly getting there. You get it there. So I've also got some prawns that I've cooked up. All you do is get some hot water in a pan, throw the green prawns in there, and cook them for about a minute, if that, and then take them out and cool them down under some cold water. And because they're quite a thick prawns, I am going to just slice them through the middle. Yeah. See, so they're nice and thin. So you got that little bit in the middle, so we're just going to cut in there. Maybe I should have pre-prepped these, but if you're cooking along with me, I kind of feel like a good way of doing this, you can do it with me, and you can watch exactly how it's done on the repeat. If I do save these and put it onto a YouTube channel called Home Cook Mastery, and I have a few other videos. If you're wondering how to make a really good bone broth, one of the recipes I've done a video on how to make a really good bone broth as well. So you can just go on there, that's Home Cook Mastery, and that's how I'll go through how you make those. So we've done all these, we'll put them in there like so. And now our noodles are pretty much ready. You can just give it a little feel, it's kind of scrunchy and it comes apart. So what we'll need to do now is to strain these through a strainer. Run it under some cold water to stop it cooking, some cold water. Then I'll put some hot water on. You probably don't really even need to use kettle water. Your hot water is often hot enough to do the rice paper. That's what we're going to soften. We'll fill this right up. Hey Annabelle, thanks for coming. Alright, so we're in the middle of making rice paper rolls. We've already done the pho stock, which we got simmering away. You don't want this boiling, you want it to be simmering, which is like a nice little flowing simmer. Okay, so what we're doing now is we got some hot water, which I'm actually gonna get some kettle water. You want it as hot as you can kind of handle it, just about. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's perfect. And then we got rice paper rolls. You can buy these at any shops. They're pretty much everywhere. You've probably already made your own rice paper rolls in the past. There's also this. I'm just going to stick to the traditional Vietnamese way, but you can stick anything in these. I've seen them with fruit in it. I've never tasted it with fruit. Don't know what that would be like, but they definitely look really cool. Great lunch idea. Alright, so here's this. Now here's the trick. I see a lot of people, when they do this, they put this in the water and they leave it until it's really soft. But you don't need to, because it just needs to be, it's still got this kind of firmness to it. And that's all you need. And then you put it on your paper, because as the water is on there, it keeps cooking anyway. So I start off with the presentation. I want these prawns to be on the outside because they look better from there. I put it down on the end there. I add some, there's some mint and some lettuce, some sprouts. Now another trick here is that if you try and jam it all in the middle here, it kind of squishes it through. I mean, it can be done, it's not that bad, but I found a little trick that you can do. Some coriander, some basil, and you roll it up in the lettuce first, like that, like a little cigar shape, and then you put it on top here, and then it holds it all in. So we put these through, like this, and then and we keep the prawns separate on the top, so that way there's only one layer of rice paper separating them, and it gives this beautiful little rice paper roll. Let's do another one. Show you how it's done. So we get our paper, and then we soften it. So it only needs to go in for like just to get wet. That's all. It doesn't need to sit in there for ages, which I've seen a lot of people do. Just don't need to. It's a lot easier and quicker this way. We do our prawns. We do our basil in the middle. Piece. Oh yeah, totally forgot. What am I doing? Rice noodles. I didn't put the rice noodles in the first one. So we got rice noodles, supposed to go in the first one, but I didn't do it. Sorry. Put that in there. Hello, hungry. Yeah. Some what? What do you want? Snacks. Alright. Why don't you go and get them out yourself? And let's try that again. And there we go. There's another one. This time it has noodles, and hence why it looks bigger. Alright. last one. Let's do this one, and that way you get the hang of it, and you can see where we're going with it. Same thing, hot water. Just dip it in. On your chopping board. I've seen some people, they put it on tea towel or something like that. I don't find that works that well for me, because the tea towel seems to absorb the liquid and it dries it out real quick. So I'm not convinced about that idea. But work it out, see how it works for you, what flavors you like, whether you like chilies or other flavors. You can pretty much do whatever you want with these. You put beef in these, there's chicken, there's, yeah, I'm starting to sound like Bubba Gump now. You got rice paper rolls, you got shrimp rolls, you got bacon rolls. Oh, bacon in this would be awesome. Yeah. So I put all the lettuce and stuff in there like that. Fold the bottom, so it's like an envelope really. Fold the sides. And then roll it over. Now, sometimes you might, like me, sometimes you might make a mistake and the whole thing goes ballistic. Then all you have to do is start again. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. These things are cheap. So it's all about practice. Take several goes at it, and there's your rice paper roll. Instagram worthy. But you can do other ones, you know, like I said, there's fruit. I've seen some mango ones, some kiwi fruit ones. They look really, really cool. So there's your rice paper rolls. And we're going to make a dip with it. Now traditionally there's a dip that they make that is mainly peanut butter and hoisin sauce. I figured not everyone has hoisin sauce, so I wanted to make something that was kind of similar and it still tastes really nice with stuff that we have at home. Most people have peanut butter unless you're allergic to peanuts, and then you're in trouble. If that's the case, you can use tahini, which is sesame seed paste, which is quite nice and apparently super healthy for you. So this is, it is easier to just make the normal traditional one, which is peanut butter and hoisin sauce, but here's a different one to trial out. Right, normally we got crushed garlic, but we're going to have to crush our own, which is better. So wait, if you haven't seen a quick way to, and the most effective way that we learn in chef school, you get garlic, you smash it, and you thinly slice it. And then once you've chopped it up, what you do, use the back end of the knife and you just crush it a bit more. And a little trick with these, and you must be careful that you don't put too much salt, but you add a bit of salt to it. Now, adding salt to it creates extra granules, and it helps you create this beautiful garlic paste. If you got one of these bad boys, they're even better. I love these things. They're like 15 bucks. But, and then you scrape it all up, and then you put it in your bowl. Okay, now that I've done that, I must remember you probably got some flavours, garlic flavours in this. So, on your chopping board. Alright, so we got some garlic, peanut butter, soy sauce. How much do you put in? I don't know, just guess. The way you think about this is you want to get a balance of different flavours. So you got your sour, you got your peanut butter. Hey Joseph, thanks for coming on. Okay, so we mix this up. So we got the lemon, or lime I should say. You can put some chilies in there. I love the chili sauce. And you can add some fish sauce. That spoon is going to take a very long time to get anything done. And a lot of the recipes use sugar to balance out the salt, the pungent, and the sour. But a way to sweeten things up is to not always rely on using sugar and salt. I think sometimes if you want to salten something up, a good way to just think about other things that you could use that would add additional flavour, like soy sauce as a seasoning agent, fish sauce as a seasoning agent, as a salty seasoning agent, instead of using just plain sea salt. And as far as sweetening things up, sometimes I find instead of just throwing sugar in there, I use sweet chili sauce, which is a sweetening agent, which adds all these other dimensions of flavour to it, which makes it more interesting. So you like try doing things like with honey or maple syrup or what else is there? What other stuff? Like the sweet chili sauce there was. So go out of the idea of always using sugar or salt to season things. What's the matter?
Disgusting.
You smell disgusting. What are you talking about? Yeah. What do you want? Did Chloe get some rice crackers or something?
Popcorn.
You want popcorn? There you go, chicken. Alright. Now that's real cooking. We're not at a studio. I don't have a team of people prepping everything up, and my children will come along and annoy you. That's the real deal. Alright, have a taste. Of course I'm going to tell you it tastes delicious. It might be a bit thick because I want to use this as a dipping sauce for my rice paper rolls. So I've just add some water. Same thing with water. I know lots of chefs who's completely against using water for things. They like to add stock, or different other flavorings. So think about that. Instead of just using the base of salt, sugar, or water, use other flavors to layer different flavors. That's lovely. Maybe a bit more water. So I'm just trying to find the right consistency of this, so that way it becomes perfect for my dipping goodness. She that needs a bit more of this. Double dipped with my fingers, but I don't think the kids are going to eat it. They're not that adventurous. Alright, so our stock has been going, and that's pretty much the base of the flavours that we're after. I mean, obviously the longer you cook this, the more flavour you're going to get. Waiting for my beef to be ready. I might have a bit of a taste. Now, something that a lot of chefs do in the kitchens that you probably never see us do, and because I never do it on a cooking show, is that if you try and taste your broth or soup straight out of the stove, it's piping hot, you'll burn your lips and you won't be able to feel your tongue for a few days, so you don't want that. What you do is you get a little saucepan, put it on a saucepan, you swish it around and it'll cool down straight away, and then that way you can taste it. Just needs a bit of salt. Needs some sort of sweetener. Actually, I do like a bit of sour to it. So I got apple cider vinegar. You can add all sorts of... So you're just trying to find the 5 flavours. So you think about your 5 flavours. You got your salt, you got your sugar, you got your sour, you got your pungent, and then you got, well, 6 really, the umami. Umami's already naturally in the bone stock, so you don't need to worry about that. That's what's good about this saucepan trick, is you're not contaminating the thing. And when you taste something, if you're getting a little spoon and you're just kind of sipping at it, you're not really getting the full flavour of the soup or the flavour. So what you want to do is get a decent mouthful. And as you breathe in, as you drink it, you really get the flavours out of it. Otherwise, you don't get the full flavour, because the flavour often comes mainly from your nose, your nasal. I think it needs a bit of soy sauce, where's the salt? That's so good. All right, I'm gonna bring that back to the heat. And then from here, it's pretty easy. We're gonna get we'll plate it up, our bowl. Get this out of the way. We've got our soup bowl. I like to warm my noodles up a bit. You can do it over a hot tap, or we've probably still got some hot water here, so we're just warming that up. Because these are already cooked. Strain that out a bit. Oh yeah, that's right, we're going to fish out our steaks. And we'll just thinly slice them. Wow, that's hot. Because I got a fairly cheap cut of meat, this is quite chewy. But if you thinly slice it, it makes it easier. It's more palatable. Let's get you right on there. Okay, so we got our warm noodles. We'll put it in the bottom. We got sprouts, which we're going to put here. Normally when you're in Vietnam, they give you herbs and flavourings and everything on the side, and you can put in whatever you want. But because we're doing this at home, I'll stick some prawns on there. You can use those fish balls. The fish balls are quite nice, or the beef balls. And then we'll put some shallots. But because I'm going to have this anyway, I can just put in all the stuff I want to put in now. It's really good. Give it a bit of a smack down. It activates the flavours in the herb. Coriander. I've always hated coriander in the past, but I've learned to like it. When I was doing my apprenticeship, one of the things the head chef told us to do, he made us write down 3 ingredients that we really, really, really hated. Mine was something like coriander, Brussels sprouts, and I can't remember what my third one was. But anyway, we wrote them down, and then our assignment for that week was to go try it. And unless you're allergic to it, you'll find out that the things that you don't like to eat is you haven't had it for probably a decade, for years, because you've had a bad experience with it as a kid. So when you actually go back and taste the ingredient that you think you had, mine was Brussels sprouts, you get there and you go, well, it's not that bad. I mean, you don't love it, but you're kind of like, oh, it wasn't as bad as that I remember. So it's quite interesting to do that, and you get to taste, and what the chef was trying to get us to do was to get us to experience and appreciate all ingredients. So once we've tasted it all, we all kind of came back and went, actually, no, like if one of the other apprentices was writing, didn't like anchovies, and he said, you know, like it wasn't as bad as he thought that it would be. He doesn't love it, but it wasn't too bad. So that was an interesting thing. So, you know, if you have anything that you don't like, it's quite interesting to see what you don't like. So the other thing is that we ended up doing is to try and work out, the next job was to try and work out how do we make that ingredient taste really good. So mine assignment was Brussels sprouts, so I had to work out how to cook Brussels sprouts, because I grew up eating Brussels sprouts where it's kind of like that, you know, that real grey, been boiling for hours. It's probably been cooking longer than the actual roast dinner itself, and it just when you like put your knife into it, it just disintegrates in this kind of weird slimy cabbage mush. But I found that Brussels sprouts is really delicious. The way I ended up cooking it was you cut them in half, you take the trim off it, and you cook it with bacon. Yes, so you render some bacon, you get the fat out of it, then you put your Brussels sprouts in it and you toss it through, and it's amazing. And I absolutely love Brussels sprouts. And I've also learned to like coriander as well. So, I'd love to hear if you have any ingredients that you really dislike. Alright, so what we got now is we got the stock. And we're going to just pour it in there. Now I discovered when I was in Vietnam that I made it a mission one morning was to try as many pho as I could at the different shops. There was this one street where every single shop, and there was like 10 or 15 of them, so we just ran through every one of them to try, and it was amazing how many, they're all just slightly different in flavour. They all had their own unique spin on it, and I thought that was so cool because, you know, like everybody, and same as Singapore laksa has the same thing. There is no real set thing of how it should taste. It all has its basis of a stock, noodles, and then some people use flat noodles, some use thin noodles. It was all slightly different in different variations, and they were all really nice. And some had different spices, or they emphasized particular spices. Some emphasized different herbs. So here it is. Here's your, and I love to season with a bit more lemongrass and rice noodles. Where are we? There we go. And let's do a little sauce for dip. So I know it's pretty early, so most of you, I doubt, would be trying to make this at this time of the morning because it is a Sunday. I kind of wonder if it's better off doing on a weekend, on a Saturday, because most of us are probably pretty tired. But there you go. There's your pho and rice paper rolls and your dipping sauce. Next week we'll do it again. I'm thinking about Saturday, and I'm still kind of trying to work out whether I should do French crepes or Japanese sushi. So tell us what you think would be good to make. Even if you are just watching the recording and not live, message on the comments of what you think would be better, whether it's crepes or just private message me, crepes or sushi. Alright, well thanks very much for coming, and hope to see you around. If you've got any questions, just write in the comments. Thanks guys, see ya.